Everybody ready? Good evening and welcome to the February 9th, 2026 meeting of the Town of Mendon Board of Assessors. In keeping with laws passed under former Governor Baker, continued under Governor Healy, this meeting is being held in person and remotely. Currently present are Board Member Kenneth O'Brien, Board Member Kevin Rudden, and Principal Assessor Sherry Bates. First item on our agenda is to approve the minutes of the November 17th meeting. Mr. O'Brien, have you had a chance to read them?
Oh, yes, sir. Sure did.
Do we have a motion?
Yeah, let me just find my sheet here. Oh, yeah. Okay. So I'd like to make a motion that we accept the meeting minutes of November 17th as written.
Okay, Mr. O'Brien made a motion. Kevin Rudden will second. All in favor, roll call vote. Mr. O'Brien?
Aye.
Mr. Rudden, aye. That's unanimous. Next item on the agenda is to sign two motor vehicle excise tax warrants. One is the last warrant for calendar year 25, and the other is warrant number 1 for calendar 26. Okay. The principal assessor will hand those out to be signed.
$1,998,663.16. Fantastic.
And there's a second one as well.
Underneath you. Okay, and the one for last year was $8,083.52.
Okay.
Both are signed. You go.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is to discuss release of a lien for 46 Misco Road and a new lien for 46 Misco Road. Principal Assessor, Ms. Bates, could you explain to us what is going on at 46 Misco Road?
Their land was subdivided. Majority of the land was bought by a tax exempt entity, and they are keeping 10 acres. So the lien needs to be amended to show what it is that they actually have under chapter.
Okay, so the new lien basically amends the former lien and reducing the land area to 4 acres in Mendon out of a total 10.84 acres, and 2.623 acres of the 4 acres will remain classified under Chapter 61A. Is that not less than the 5 acres required?
Because the land in total equals, just because you have the town line that cuts through, they are still eligible because the rest of the land in Upton is still under.
That's what I was going to ask. It is budding land though in Upton.
Yes.
So the assessors in Upton are doing the.
Yes, and I've already been in contact with them.
That for the house on 46 Misco Road. Can I see that on the map?
Not going to turn around without killing everything. And this is the property owned by Emmy and Beverly White,
Yes.
or Emerson White to be correct.
Oh, okay, up at the top of the hill.
Yeah, if you're an old timer, it's Emmy White.
Correct.
Like you and me, Mr.
That's why I knew it was at the
Like
top
you and
of
me, Mr. O'Brien.
Well, I knew it was at the top of the hill. Yeah, nice pictures. That one there. GIS. This is the town's website?
Mhm.
Excellent.
And for those who may be looking or listening, the principal assessor has called up a GIS map depicting the location, or in Latin word, the situs of 46 Misca Road.
Yeah. That's up here somewhere, right?
The map and
Map 2, Block 179, Parcel 46.
Yeah, there's Emmy's house.
yeah,
2/179/46 dash a whole bunch of other numbers.
Right,
that's the square footage.
and
But
Upton's
they
right.
have cut out here, coming across here, up and over,
Plus the stuff in the back.
in Upton, yeah.
Okay, and the
That's the
remainder,
house, and the remainder here.
what is the
with
nonprofit that is getting it?
Sudbury Valley
Valley Trustees.
Trustees, and I've already,
That's quite, they're quite a good group.
yes, and, they are going to be submitting, the ABC paperwork.
Now, this is Sudbury trustees.
Sudbury Valley Land Trust.
Oh, they're
trustees.
equal to trustees of the reservation, except they're on a
Trustees for the
local basis.
reservation, Mass Audubon, Charles River
Metacomet.
Land Trust, Metacomet Land Trust, yes.
Okay,
Means the land will be protected forever.
Yeah.
now was it sold?
Yes.
Yes. They acquired it.
Yeah.
And how many acres did they acquire in Mendon? Oh, well, was there Mendon and Upton?
Yeah, the land extends into Upton.
For
Mendon
what
land
they bought?
appears to be,
Yeah, well, for both of them,
the land appears in Mendon appears to be 16.64 acres.
yes,
That's 16 right here.
Yes.
Roughly.
roughly.
Okay,
Here, and then, there's about 4 acres in, Mendon that, the whites,
What are they gonna keep?
that keep, and then the rest of the land is in Upton.
right, okay. So in terms of amending the lien, I don't see
Well,
this an issue. with me.
on,
Not releasing the lien, amending the lien
amend the lien to what?
down to the 4 acres with 2.2623 in chapter land.
Okay, so that we're doing two things here. So I understand what you just said.
First is amending the lien to
Yeah.
reflect after the purchase.
To be the net of what they're keeping
Correct.
in Mendon.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Okay, would you make a motion to approve
So
that?
made.
Okay, I will second. All in favor, Mr. O'Brien
Aye.
and Mr. Rudna, aye. It's unanimous of the two of us.
Okay. See, if it was a,
That's next on the agenda.
okay. This has to be,
Notarized. And since we both signed it in
yeah, do you,
Ms. Grace presence, she is a notary and she
oh,
will
you are,
notarize.
good. Oh, excellent, super duper.
Speaking of which, did the water department? Yes, good. That's
And I
after
have
this
it.
meeting.
And I haven't marked what you need to sign.
Okay, now the next part of this part of the agenda is to release the lien on the 16.64 acres they've sold. And both Mr. O'Brien and I have a question about procedure on that.
We do, but under normal conditions,
Yes,
I would not approve that for 5 years. Because,
yes.
uh,
The new owner
your,
could take it out.
your average person purchasing it, even though they sign an affidavit that says we're gonna keep it in agricultural, horticulture, or even under forestry.
Yes,
The idea is that, if you needed to do a rollback because in 2 years from now, they change their mind and they're gonna, change the use, we can only claw back 2 years.
No, you can do the 5-year rollback tax on them,
Where?
on the new owner.
on the new owner.
Where? Under what? How?
Under the state law, you can do, if you have an owner that purchases property that is under chapter land and they sign an affidavit stating that they will keep it under 60 chapter land, and they do not, they are then held responsible for the 5-year rollback tax.
Okay, I still wouldn't sign it.
Okay.
That's great. I still wouldn't sign it. For safety reasons, I
Okay.
wouldn't sign it.
Yes.
So, but since we have a nonprofit who is in the business of conserving land,
Yes.
and they do a swell, super swell job, I will release the lien for the portions that they purchased in Mendon.
Okay, would you make a motion to that effect?
I just did, didn't I?
Yes. Okay, I will second. All those in favor, Mr. O'Brien
Aye.
and Mr. Rudden, aye. That's both of us.
But I just want to reiterate again, if I may,
Yes.
on the normal standard transfer of property, I wouldn't do it.
Okay.
Okay, just so that you know that, and the public knows that.
And Ms. Bates, I don't want to seem ignorant.
Yeah.
At our next meeting, could you pull out that section of the law
There you go.
that does your point? Just so we have it.
Yeah.
Okay. The next item in the agenda is to review the executive session minutes from January 27th, 2025 to see if they should be made public.
Of course, you're a better man than I. You remember what we talked about.
We do have a copy of the minutes.
Oh, good.
I'm just looking for it.
And it's primarily regarding application number 3. I believe it is. Mr. Bowles. He has requested a copy of that and
Mr. Bryan,
Yeah, just let me see that. Number 3, you said?
yes, now the issue I have, quite honestly, is the executive session minutes name the applicants for several abatements. By state law, they are due to be kept confidential,
Well, as far as the address goes.
and the name.
But I so far I haven't got to any names.
Okay.
No.
I do not have a problem releasing the section of those minutes that pertain to the person seeking the minutes. But I do not think the person is entitled to learn the addresses of the other people under state law.
this is why it was brought to the board for discussion and decision.
For instance, it says the Board of 2003, 2023.
And just so the world knows, this is not us trying to keep it secret. State law says people applying for exemptions and abatements, that their records are to be kept confidential, and the only people that are to see them are the principal assessor
Oh,
and the board.
all right, I'm sorry. I just realized this is 25.
Yes,
I mean, I finally got to a point that it said,
yes,
this is 25. This is a year ago.
it's a year ago.
Oh, okay.
However, my personal
All right,
feeling,
I agree with you. I think that number 1 and number 2 needs to be redacted, period.
and you have no
I make
problem,
that motion.
and no problem with releasing number 3.
So far, I'm not gonna find out what number 3 is.
The person who is requesting they be released is the person covered in number 3.
Okay, all right, let me just continue the conversation about the cost guard and he's a member of the one. But the price will come in, she's to get that the appraisal seems to be with half, the price of buying could put himself way on it if you had a probably got it every year, but they wet. And then I was 27, and I could second by check.
Yeah, okay. I just want to say this about that, if I can.
Yes,
I guess I would start by saying redact everything except number 3.
is that a motion?
I make a motion that we redact application number 1, that whole paragraph,
Yes,
and redact application number 2, that whole paragraph. And then everything else is A-OK to include the part where it says motion by Kevin to return to open meeting.
Okay, I will second that. All in favor, Mr. O'Brien?
Aye.
And Mr. Rudden is aye.
Now,
Could we clarify that motion? Because in releasing it to the public, it means anybody can see it. Correct?
yes, it does.
But it is the request of the person involved that it be made public, correct?
Make another motion to,
What, didn't we just vote?
no,
What did we do?
well, basically you have voted to redact those two sections and release just number 3. But that.
Oh, I
means they
want to
can go
accept the whole minutes, which is what we did, right?
We
Didn't
have
accept-
accepted
we
those
accept
minutes in the past.
We agreed to redact. Okay, what else?
Make a motion to.
Make them public of the redacted copy.
Only to the
To
applicant,
the
applicant,
applicant requesting the copy of the minutes.
because otherwise we're violating state law by giving them out to everybody.
Not if we redact 1 and 2.
Yes, but we're making 3 public to the world unless we make it specific to the applicant of number 3.
Let me reread this, please.
Okay,
The applicant. What did they apply for? An abatement.
Yep.
Okay, all right, good. That's it. They wanted an abatement.
correct.
Now, I have to ask questions about this,
Yeah.
if you don't mind. Because it was a long time ago.
Correct.
So, I understand that the town had an appraisal done,
Correct.
right? Did the property owner have an appraisal done?
I have no idea.
No,
No. Well,
And if I remember correctly, the person involved then wanted his property abated to what the town's appraisal said. And we said no. The issue I have, Mr. Bryan, is the following. If we make that executive session, even with number 1 and 2 redacted, public, then anybody now knows this person applied for an abatement. But if we take a very
yeah,
narrow vote
that's true.
that
That's true.
says we're releasing it only to the person who made that abatement application.
Well, the one thing that's clear in the law is
Yes,
that the idea of an address or parcel ID number
yes,
applying for an abatement
Yeah.
is okay. But every other piece of information is not okay.
I'd still like us to narrow it down that we're only making it public to the actual applicant for that abatement.
Okay, I adjust my motion to
Yes.
be exactly what you said, where it's only going to the applicant.
Okay, I will second that.
And then, of course, I would ask, why did this person, if they were going to be doing this, didn't have an appraisal themselves done? Because there's no sense in having,
That's not an issue before us.
no, but, you know,
It may make sense to you and I, but it may not make sense to that applicant.
she's staying at the property.
So
This other number,
no,
neither that one either. Okay,
I don't want to compromise the town's position on it.
oh, yeah, okay, all right, that's fine,
So you have
Uh,
made an amended motion.
I did.
Okay, I
Then you have
seconded
the
it.
Number 3 only,
Roll call vote, Mr. O'Brien
aye.
and Mr. Rudden. And that was an aye. Okay. The next item on the agenda, if you could forward that back to the principal assessor. The next item on the agenda is to review the budget proposals for fiscal 27. Have you had a chance to review them, Mr. O'Brien?
No,
Okay,
but I would, it's let me look. Where's our increases? 27 versus 26. We have a 6% increase. On what line is that?
Contractual salary, if I'm not mistaken,
Yes.
and everything else looks normal.
May I ask questions about it?
Absolutely. I remember I looked at it 2 weeks ago, so
Yeah,
please ask me, please ask Sherry the
Contractual.
question.
help me out. Tell me where.
We have a contract with the principal assessor.
Oh, I know that, but I don't remember putting anything in it after the first year, did we?
That will be dealt with in executive session.
Okay, well, there you go. Okay, so having no other issues here because what's this, $100? Map maintenance. Oh, yeah, up $100. Well, that's quite reasonable, even though it's a higher percentage than I want, but the problem is that our map makers, they're suffering from the same thing that everybody at home is, and that's
Yeah.
increase in costs.
E-
So
everybody is.
$100 is not that much.
It's minimal.
It sure is. Okay, I'm good with it.
Okay, make a motion to
I
allow,
accept this as we should go forward with this.
and I believe
as
it's
submitted.
already been submitted, correct?
Yes, it had to be submitted as of last month,
Okay,
so.
I'll second that. I think you did an excellent job in keeping it to a bare minimum. And not, obviously only going up where a vendor went up.
Mm.
And I will second that. I'll call for a roll call vote that we
Aye.
approve of this. Mr. Bryant said aye, Mr. Rudden says aye. Okay, the rest of the meeting, we are going to ask Mr. O'Brien to enter into a motion to executive session under Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, Reason 6, to consider the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property if the chair declares that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the negotiation pursuant with the public body. Particularly, we're going to discuss two things, both of which state law laws to be kept. One is to discuss the contract with the principal assessor, and the other is to discuss abatement applications. We will not be coming back into public session. We will adjourn directly from the executive session. Mr. O'Brien, could you make that motion?
So made, exactly what you said.
I will second. All in favor, roll call vote. Mr. O'Brien.
Aye.
Mr. Rudden, aye. At 6:04 PM, we're going into executive session.
And thank everybody from me for joining us.
Yes, and if somebody
On
could
the-
tell me how to delete this.
Okay.
And where am I clicking off? Leave?
And, yeah,